All right, and we're back. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Kayfabe Corner, my interview series where I interview one of the top people here in the state of Florida. Great up and coming here. We have the captain, Aaron Nova. Captain, how are you? Are you beeping in correctly?
Absolutely. Right now, I'm in an undisclosed location
Aren't
somewhere.
we all?
I'm just not on the planet right now. Social distancing, I kind of just blew it out of proportion.
I'll just say, smart on you. You're not even on Earth right now. You're somewhere else.
Completely gone, man. I can't tell you because there's a lot of predators out there that's trying to, get the
Is it?
captain.
Is there literally like predators from the movie Predators as well? Like, can you at least let me know that?
Yeah, it's like to catch a predator mixed with predator. So they're like, yeah, it's weird. Species
Does,
is breed.
does Chris Hansen show up at their place and go, but then they would probably just kill him. So,
Yeah. It's
uh,
back.
how are you in these times, man? What would you have been doing, man? Are you hurt? Are you physically active? What's your update right now?
As of right now, I got injured and then the world shut down. So it was like, okay, I was the glue that was holding the world together.
Yeah, thanks, Aaron. It's all your fault, really.
I break an arm and the world breaks in half.
Shows get canceled.
Like that, I can hit one of these. So,
Oh, dang! I didn't know we were gonna do some dance lessons.
yeah. But I've been all right, man. I was laid off from my job that was assigned by the Men in Black, my stationary job, and then I was playing video games like a Earth high school kid during summer vacation.
What are you playing, man? What are you on the Xbox, the Game Cubes?
I am a PlayStation 4 guy,
Okay.
but I've been playing like Warzone. I've been switching it up to Forest. I just recently beat that with a group of friends. I'm more like an online, like I like group games, like we can do it as a team because the captain has to lead somehow, some way. I can't do it
I
enough.
see. Always the captain, whether in the wrestling ring or online video gaming world.
It is my gift and it is my curse at the same time.
So, give me the origins of a young captain. Are you a wrestling fan growing up? Is this something you come into later? What's the start of your wrestling journey, just in as a fan?
Wrestling has always been around. It's always been around. There's just, as far as I can dial it back, it's always been around. But what always drew me to wrestling was the reactions it it gave people. Like the things wrestling made people do was always cool to me. The reactions I was always a fan of. So if I can go dial it all the way back before the academy, um, it was always around. My dad loves Stone Cold. Um, Seeing
What?
him react to Stone Cold, yeah, it was always cool. My older brother, his birthday was always around WrestleMania, so he would have the WrestleMania parties and stuff like that. Um, it just always was around. Not one memory could really hook me. I mean, there's so many that just are a part of my life. But it's always been around. Always loved wrestling. Always been a fan. With some people, they like, I guess in high school, they watch it religiously and they grow out of it. But now I was one of those people who just I stuck to it, man. It taught me how to be a person. It taught me how to fight. It taught me everything I know.
Who's your main guy? Who are your number one guys?
Uh, my number one guy is Daniel Bryan, of course, Daniel Bryan. Um, but before he came on the scene, the last decade, yeah, the last decade. Oh my God, it's already been a decade. Um, before that, I mean, there were so many, man. The Rey
Do you
Mysterio.
feel old all of a sudden?
Yeah, it's just I feel like
Don't
time
tell
goes.
me Daniel Bryan, please. He was one of my teens and oldens.
Yeah. When YouTube first like became a thing, uh, like a year before that, like you would have to like go to the forum sites or something like that. Any site with a flash player that you can get like clips or something like that. Um, that's how I was first introduced to like indie wrestling. Kind of really was the forum sites like the SATs and Xavier, CM Punk. I was a huge CM Punk fan, man. Um,
So same here.
Really like cool about CM Punk like got me through like peer pressures in middle school and stuff like that. Like I didn't really have to being from stationed in the inner city. I was from the Bronx. I was there pretty much my whole life. Really, I only moved out here I think like 2009. Man, that was so long ago. But
Yeah, you said it like it's recently. Yeah, it was almost
yeah,
a decade.
everything feels like yesterday because I feel like
Over a
now,
decade.
like social media being so accessible and like the internet in our pockets, I feel like we're just in this time like warp, this time loop. Like we're just time is standing still right now. Everything feels it's not moving, but it's going rapidly fast at the same time.
So if you're a Daniel Bryan fan, do you recall when he was a heel and he would do the no's to the yeses?
Yes, absolutely. Uh,
This guy got to do it with him on Monday Night Raw. Just saying.
oh my God, you gotta
So
have an autograph. Can you? You're gonna have to sign some of my shirts, man. I'd go and show you, but I can't like reveal my my quarters, my captain's quarters here.
okay, you don't want to reveal too much. I understand. I understand. There is
I have
a
like a whole drawer over here. Like the bottom is just like every single piece of Daniel Bryan merch, like everything you could like, or every single shirt, wristbands, every goat mask, everything. So I'm gonna need you to autograph it because technically you've been, you've been in the presence of a god. He's the closest thing we got to go.
I can show the YouTube clip. It's legit. It was a great moment.
It's awesome.
Okay, so when do you decide to finally get in the business? What's that with that stepping stone? Where do you start? How old are you? What's the final decision?
I believe I was 21. I had originally moved to Florida from the Bronx. Really wanted to wrestle. Tampa was like, I guess, the mecca of pro wrestling. I had it in my head I was gonna go train with the Malenko school, and I was gonna be the next big thing. And then when I moved here, I realized the Malenko school closed like 10 years prior, and it's just like, oh.
Oops.
So I kind of like at the times, kind of tough times around there when I first got down here, just adjusting and stuff like that. It was literally completely different from the Bronx. Um, but I waited a couple years. I was working two jobs at the time, and then I forgot what pay per view it was. I think it was. I can't even say. I don't even remember what pay per view it was. But there was at one point where I was just like, "All right, I'm gonna do this." I was with a friend. I don't know if you ever heard of Ian Frost. We kind of broke in together. We were like, oh, man, we got to do this. We got to do this. So we're like, I was working two jobs at the time. He started a month early, but we were like looking for places and stuff like that in Florida, which there's like a million in Florida now. Who would have thought that they were so close by? But I mean, I guess social media was still like blossoming around that time, so it was kind of hard to find a spot. But he had a brother who was in a church band with another wrestler. I think it was a church band or just a band. Leo Bryan, who introduced us to a show in Ruskin, Florida. And oh yeah, happiest time of my life. Let me tell you,
He ain't lying, folks.
that's the happiest day of my life. I swear. But we went to the show. Leo Bryan had told us about this one place called DWI. So we went to the show. Ended up sticking around after the show. We got introduced to Frank Reyes, and that was the start of it all right there.
So what was your relationship? So you trained with Frank Reyes for a little while. What were some of the first matches you had, promotions you worked for?
Ooh, DWI was the first one. They would have their trainings, and it was a bi-weekly show they had. So we would train Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and then Sunday. Sundays would be their afternoon shows, but we trained about like 6-7 months before we got primed and ready. Then they slapped us in a battle royal, a student battle royal, of course. It's what you had to do. But I had opened the battle royal, man, and it was alongside Alex Green. We were the first two, man, and literally it was like probably like 20 students, and it was a chop fest. And I was like, I think the only baby face there because like everybody would come in and just light me up, light me up, light me up. I took a body slam, like the first body slam there, and it's just like knocked all the wind out of me. And I'm like, we're only at number 4. Like, oh my God, I don't know how I'm gonna do this, but we did. We did it, of course. Had a blast. It was one of my favorite moments. it was a sense of accomplishment. Like, oh yeah, finally we did it. All this training and all this stupid squats and push-ups and all that, we finally put it to use, and we had a blast.
Is there anyone else you credit for really helping you kind of get there besides Reyes? Anyone else that you really credit a little bit for?
Uh, Anthony Devlin, of course, who I trained with after Reyes. I was under his wing for a couple of years. Uh, he really, he was the one who really got beside me, and like we teamed up at one point and really showed me like the ins and outs of the locker room kind of deal. Like, certain people act a certain way. You just gotta be like, he pretty much taught me how to adapt to certain situations in the ring, being a smaller guy and stuff like that. How to professionalism in the locker room, how to carry yourself, and I'm a product of DWI, man. Been running, I think my first show after my first show outside of DWI was Real Pro.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, we were at a dog track show, and
That wasn't us. That was OSW.
is it? Yeah, well, yeah, it was.
Because
Yeah,
I managed against you, don't I? Aren't I in
yeah,
that?
I thought everybody was connected somehow, some way, but it was the dog track show when we did the ring crew because they rented our ring from DWI, and then I met up with you, and then Real Pro was my first like, oh man, I'm gonna be on the road, and I'm driving like 4 hours to Ave Marie, Florida, college town. It was awesome, man. It was my first time, and I was petrified. I'm not gonna lie, it was scary stuff. It was my first time out on my own, and just been going ever since.
What's it like getting in that car and traveling hours into these weird places like Christian Town, Ave Maria, which didn't always want us?
Oh man, it was a blast. Yep, here's this match right here, and here I am in the most colorful outfit with the giant Zach Monstar, who's great. Look at that. Like, oh my God, he's making it so sweet. And I'm just ball of fire, really tanned. Don't know why my hands up. I guess I had a. Oh yeah, all right. This is the tag, but I didn't trust Charles Crane because he was evil. But
what a fun tag team here.
Zach Monstar, but it was fun, man, being on the road by myself. The first couple of shows I got out to, because I still like in wrestling school, like, it's kind of tough. Like some things that aren't really taught is, how to get your own bookings and how to, meet people and stuff like that. I didn't know the world outside of the nest. So, these long drives, I didn't know about roading with people or anything like that. I was just by myself in my little Honda, driving 4 hours, but it was a blast, man. Here I am in, who's that here? Oh, Ajax. Oh God, this match, this is what kicked off the Captain Aranova, because Ajax is such a pro, man. He's a great wrestler, but I whipped him off with the wrong arm, and then I realized I needed a belt as well. God, I look ridiculous. But Ajax is awesome. So this match, I felt like, oh man, I thought I had a good match. But a lot of things I still messed up on. I was like, man, I need a lot of work and a lot of work fast. Because I was still pretty skeptical about traveling and stuff like that. But this match is what really like made me go out and just wrestle as much as possible, learn as much as possible, learn how to work and understand the world of wrestling.
So going back a little bit, was it always Aaron Nova? Did you toy with any other names? Have you ever gone by anything else? Well, not what we're going to talk about it here in a minute, but anything else besides what we'll talk about pretty soon.
Yeah. When I first started, I always had a lot of energy. I'm pretty animated and husky. So at first, when I first came on the scene, like the video with Monstar and Scyther, that match, like I was wearing a Galaxy basketball jersey and some Galaxy tights and green knee pads. I was all over the place, but I'm from out of this world, so it was hard to like just put my finger on one thing. I started out as the Swagtastic Super Thug, which, yeah, I don't even know.
You gotta say, explain that to me.
I don't know. I was just a kid with some energy and a colorful kid with some energy and just a ball of charisma, just bouncing all over the place. Had no direction, and then I went to then the academy shaped me up, and then I became the Captain Aranova.
So I definitely got to ask you about this. I don't know if you're aware. I know you've been talking about him on Facebook, like a lot of people have been talking about. Can we talk a little bit about Dog Daddy and just what do you know about this individual?
Man, where to begin? Look, man. First and foremost, I absolutely despise the Dog Daddy. Me and him don't get along. We are roommates on Earth. Uh, Completely two different people. He's just this old timer dude in the locker room, always angry and bitter about I don't know what. It's from the territory days in the '80s, I guess, where he was a mid carder.
I can't believe he's still touring. I mean, he's still a mid Carter.
I don't even know what's the guy's rate. Like if he shows, um, I guess he has a no show rate and then a show up rate. It's beyond me how this guy still gets booked. Um,
He's no show me like 5 times.
I wouldn't doubt it for a second. He's a total scumbag. Absolutely.
I don't know why I keep going back.
But yeah, he's pretty much the embodiment of just wrestlers stuck in the wrestler's way. The old school way is my way, and it's just like I don't see it that way at all. Like I'm more so of we have to keep evolving with the times, or we get left behind. You know, I believe in old school fundamentals, but this guy he tells me all the time I don't get it, but I tell him all the time I don't think he gets it. Yeah, look at him. He's still using a freaking camcorder. Oh god, I'm so sorry.
He probably has like the full VHS in that too, huh?
Oh my god, he has to. Oh man, look at that hair. It's disgusting.
I was actually about to say it's kind of gorgeous in my opinion. I kind of like it.
Goodness, he's absolutely a scumbag. What size is that shirt? I mean, if you throw water on him, it'll choke him.
I mean, I know you guys. We got to have a grudge match at some point.
Look, I would be glad to fight the Dog Daddy at any time, but he's so hard. The first time I got booked against Dog Daddy, I literally asked the guy, is there anything you want to do? Just wrestler's way. Let me just know some of your moves so we can have a good match. And this guy just literally just barks on me. We're gonna call it in the ring. Sorry, I don't have a really good Dog Daddy impression.
It's a very distinct voice, yeah.
I can't do it. We're gonna call it in the ring. That's because we fucking work around here. And I'm just like, dude, whatever. And we went out there, and it ended up being one of my best matches ever. But still, like,
the vet still has a trick or two. Despite your dislike, he's got a trick or two, huh?
Yeah. Why people literally still try? He's just insufferable. He's absolutely insufferable. He's a drunk.
I heard he
doesn't pay for gas.
Oh yeah. Now, besides Dog Daddy, of course, who's some of your favorite matches? Who have you really clicked with?
For myself, that's a very good question. I mean, like, I feel like
Thank you.
Yeah, I guess. For myself, I click with so many people. Like every different person I get to work with is always a different challenge to me. But some of the ones who really brought out the best in me, I would have to say, man, Sage Scott, total scumbag. He would be up there as one of my greatest nemesis.
What a backhanded compliment. Sage Scott, total scumbag, though.
Oh yeah, total scumbag. Don't get along. He's not a cruiserweight. He's definitely up there. Man. Richard Danger, another scumbag, who I enjoyed working with, just beating the crap out of him. He stole the victory. Most of my best matches, honestly, have been one-offs. Like, besides Sage Scott, we had a 3-series, and this is when I totally annihilated him. And I was going to beat up everybody in the crowd as well. They just didn't follow orders. Neither did Sage Scott, total scumbag. PSG was another good one. Hunter Law was a great one. Hunter Law was, I would have to say, one of my best matches for, just the one-on-one We only worked one time. But feuds, I would have to say, yeah, Sage Scott would be number one on the list because he's a piece of crap.
Now let's talk actually a little bit more about that. The whole Sage Scott is not a cruiserweight thing. I think you even convinced me to say it on commentary one time at ACW. Well, where does this stem from? Because is he the current ACW cruiserweight champion?
Yes.
So I mean, he has the belt. So
I mean, he did win the title fair and square, but has he done an official weigh-in? You got to think about this. When I first met Sage, it was in Tampa Bay Pro Wrestling. It was in a 6-man cruiserweight challenge, and
that's two companies billing him as a cruiserweight.
Yeah, and it's just like I was like, okay, the powers that be obviously are blind because this man is.
Aren't I the commissioner of Tampa Bay? What the heck, man?
How about you? You're
Okay.
the people who got it. You got it.
That's probably one of those. I let Jay Lethal do it. I give him a bone every once in a while.
Guys, but when I first met him, I didn't know him, and then I was just like, okay, you don't belong in this match, and he ended up winning the match. So after the match, I asked him nicely. I said, you are not a cruiserweight, and I'm going to prove it to you. I'm going to reverse this decision with politics. And with the official handbook, I brought out a scale for him. So everybody, the world, we had an official there to see his weight. As he steps on the scale, I went in to get a closer look, and out of nowhere, the man he drops me face first on the scale. And ever since that day, I've been on a warpath to prove that he is not a cruiserweight, and my mind will never be changed until he gets on a scale.
You got to trick him. We got to visit him at a fair, have someone say, go guess the weight, or he'll give him $5, and then he'll swerve off the mustache. It was you all along.
Yeah, the dude's humongous. There's no way he's a cruiserweight. If you cut him in half, he's still not a cruiserweight.
Well, that's a see, man. I mean, I would imagine somebody's got to weigh him by now. Someone must be following these cruiserweight guidelines.
I got to weigh because I think he's probably connected to the Russians, kind of, where it's like the weigh-ins are kind of rigged. So when the time comes, when the world opens up, I challenge Sage Scott to the first official weigh-in. It's not going to be a match.
No match.
You'll weigh in, all right? You weigh in. If you're not a cruiserweight, you lose.
And if he is, he wins? What does he win out of this?
No, he doesn't win anything because he's a loser. But if he is a cruiserweight, which I know he's not because he's not a cruiserweight, and I'll be damned if he is, then I'll just beat him up. It's just fair. It's plain and simple.
What's some of your favorite promotions? Who do you like visiting?
Favorite promotions, man. Each promotion, I like to try to do different things. Not so much steer away, but I like to try to be as creative as possible to offer different things. Like Real Pro Wrestling would be a good one because I'm not really the Captain Aaron over there. I'm no I don't even remember how that came about. I know it was the Saturday Night Live. And I just, Peter Dinklage is just like a god.
Isn't he though?
He's tremendous. He's like one of the coolest human beings I've ever seen. But he did this sketch called Space Pants, and I said, oh my God, I want to be that when I grow up. And then I could have done my hair blonde though. I was already wearing space pants, and then the sketch hit, and then, oh, look at this right here. Me and Ruby Flyer and the Eggplant Kid, Captain Aranova. But, yeah, the people started yelling out space pants, and it's just like, all right, I'm space pants now, You got to give the people what they want. And it's always a fun time working at Space Pants. I always have fun. I always do something pretty outlandish, my outlandish movements here. Look at me, I'm so jacked. There goes Kent, the only referee on the gas.
I thought you guys are friends. Jeez.
Oh, yeah, we're total best buds, but still he's on the gas, Who's his supplier? It could be me. Who knows? Promotions, I mean, each one I like to do a different thing, like Tampa Bay Pro with the Commissioner's Cabinet. How that grew, like, for some that I always felt was just like a throwaway idea, like, let's just throw these guys together. And we ended up being like 4 or 5 segments on the show. Was always fun. Goodness. So many different ones. Pride of Wrestling was always a fun one because of my feud with PSG. Like the video packages and promos we did for the feud, like were really like creative and out of the box and weird. Um, it depends, man. If the opponent challenges me and my character, man, we can really put on some good stuff.
I'm just trying to look at some of these promos here, man. So you talking about before about I didn't know it was not muted. Talking before about teaming up with Sammy C. What do you like being a tag team competitor? You enjoy teaming with Sammy and a couple
Well,
others here and there?
I think like every wrestler, you know, we all feel like we're the world champion. We could all be the singles guy. But at first I wasn't thrilled with it. I was like, oh man, Sam C, we don't have like any like we don't I felt like we didn't mesh. We didn't like have any character
Mm.
history. I didn't think like so it was really a challenge. Look at that. PSG and me, total body guy. Total body guy. Look at that. Look at that. That editing. We were movie stars.
Yeah, this is great. I have it on mute so we can talk. But yeah, this is I like it. I love it so far.
Oh yeah. We really me and PSG were guys that like, all right, they're putting us together. I don't want to be the opener. I don't want to be an afterthought. I want to be brought back. So I'm gonna challenge you. You gotta challenge me. We gotta pull out all stops. We gotta be as entertaining as possible. We have to stand out from the rest of the card. We have to be the most important thing on the show. You know, we were two young, hungry guys, and look at that. I'm just savagely attacking him. The Cosmic Cutter. Boom.
This is not the cute space pants I know. You're so evil.
No, it's just, you know, it's just the thirst to win. That didn't affect me. I got up real back. That didn't affect me either. I got up real quick. All right, you can stop. Whoa, wait, hey, hold on. Listen,
you liked it before when you were winning. Sorry.
Yeah, you know that's not me.
I'll skip those scenes.
But, yeah, we were just two young, hungry guys, man. And just like going back to Sam C, like I felt like we didn't have chemistry, like as far as character meshing, but we were two young, hungry guys that was always there early, doing what we had to do we were just so thirst for a spot. You know, and we put our heads together and we try to stand out as much as possible and be, you know, with the absolute minimum we had. Because I think the franchise guy at the time was Chris Calloway. You know, we were just like the cronies, but we ended up, you know, trying to be as entertaining as possible, standing out. Our promos always on time, always outlandish, you know. And somehow, some way, we won the Tampa Bay Pro Wrestling Tag Team titles that we technically
man. I agree. Well, I'm part of the stable, so I have to agree. Absolutely, we never lost.
I mean, they didn't really pin us; they just took the belts. You know, they technically they're thieves.
I was the one that agreed to that match too, so my bad.
It happens, and then we got fired. You know.
Oh yeah, dude, my bad.
And then the world just closed down. So that's what you get, Jordan.
I fire a lot of people. I actually forgot. Hey, listen, we'll talk deets after the interview. You know, Sammy, no, but me and you will talk.
I got you. Paperwork's in the mail. FedEx.
Absolutely. We mentioned before about your injury. When we're back to normal, will you be back?
Absolutely, no doubt, man. Even, man, being injured is so hard. It's really frustrating, but some guys would break away. Me, I couldn't be away from it. So once I broke my arm, completely my fault. I still wanted to be a part of the show somehow. I really I was so thirsty to do whatever I can. So I'm like hitting people up. Like I'll do commentary, I'll do managing, I'll do anything. This is my safe haven right here. Like pro wrestling is just my happy place. Like it's a fun environment. And it is work, but it's always a blast, man. So I couldn't be away from it because I just enjoyed it so much. I enjoyed talking it up and putting it over, and I wanted to do whatever I could. And then I was able to get on the commentary team on ACW, which I was absolutely petrified. Again, I'm a huge chicken. Because Zach Romero and Christian Override were just like, they had so much good chemistry, and I just felt like, oh man, I can't keep up with these guys. They're so witty.
A three-man booth is hard, especially when it's like double dutch. You're not really sure when to jump in always.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's just, and they're pop culture references, and it was just like they were.
This is what you do. Do what I did, and just call him a nerd every once in a while. Like, yeah, whatever, nerd.
Yeah, I'll keep that in mind. But it was a learning experience and getting to watch firsthand. It kept me sharp. So now I'm just waiting. My arm's getting a lot better. I can move it. I can mambo. I can do some of that. As soon as the world opens up, man, the captain is ready to come back. It was definitely a learning experience. I had to backtrack a lot and realize, okay, here's what I'm doing wrong in wrestling, and I'm acting wrong and selfish in some ways. So I kind of wanted to. It gave me the chance to have a different approach to it.
Well, I'm glad to hear that you'll be back in the ring soon because commentary is my thing. So quit trying to steal my gigs.
Can't, man.
Well, what are some of your dream matches? Both like crazy and then both locally. Like who on wherever throughout time do you think, man, that would have been cool to tangle with? And who locally are you like, I want to get in there with?
Locally, I think the number one guy on my list there's two. Number one is Marcos Espada. When I was breaking out, that same exact show with my match against Ajax, he was on that card, and he had a match with Saeed Sabah and Alexander Zane, and they freaking tore it up. And the dude, like, I was a huge fan after that. I was like, yo, I need to see all his videos. Like, this is gonna be the guy right here. Like, that's like, he had the look, he had the athletic ability. Yeah, Margaret, right? The hair. He was so entertaining and energetic. The gear was cool. So when I first seen that, I was like, okay, that made me like reevaluate myself at the time, and I was just like, man, I got to kick it in the high gear because I got to be prime and ready to face somebody like that. So he's definitely number one on the list. Number two on the list, of course, is the Authoritar, Eddie Torres.
Oh, okay.
The Authoritar. Now, the Authority, Eddie Torres, that's a guy I just, man, I like, I don't care who you put me with. Nothing really matters to me. There's no titles that really matter until I face Eddie. Like, Eddie is the measuring stick in Florida right now. He's one of the top guys, in my opinion. We don't agree on a lot of things. But, he's somebody who I did look up to. Again, we didn't have to agree on anything. And look at this, man. Oh, man, he's so cool. Just that. The gear was awesome, man. He's
that gear.
His timing and his athleticism is just amazing. So yeah, he's definitely up there. Marcos Espada. If you're listening, man, let's tango. Tango or the Rumba? Let's just wrestle. Let's just do that.
Yeah, sure. Just stick with what it actually is. That works.
But yeah, Marcos Espada, Eddie Torres, because Eddie Torres is the bar in Florida, in my opinion. Again, he has his old school ways. I'm more new school. There's always going to be a conflict of interest, but I feel like, I won't be able to get to the next level until I face him. Look at that.
These are both great matches. Yeah, Espada, Torres, if you're listening, I know Torres, he ain't backing down from no challenge. So
I've never been shy away from, like I always said, like like it's the match that just has to happen. It's just, like we're similar in a certain way, as far as wrestling fundamentals and protecting the business. as far as the wrestling business, I'm more, I'm still. He's a he's a little more mature to it. I mean, he's been in the game longer than I have. Um, but new school versus old school, man. Eddie's the guy, and I want to be the guy. He's obviously at the top of the mountain, and I want to be at the top of the mountain. Long story short.
Who like crazy wise throughout the history of wrestling do you want to tango or rumble with?
Uh, Man, goodness. Fantasy matches for me with guys. I would love to do some entertaining. Oh, there's so many, man. I would love to work. The Hurricane was always a guy I would love to work with. Uh, Daniel Bryan, of course, because he is my Lord and Savior.
That would make sense.
He's the Jesus of professional wrestling. Daniel Bryan, the Hurricane, because it would be very entertaining. Those would be my top two.
Very nice, very nice. Now, we touched a little bit upon it. I just want to clarify a little bit more. One great thing that you see, we saw a little bit of the PSG stuff, and something we all know you for too is your promos. You have the backgrounds. Usually, you got an idea, you got now a character. Is promo something that's very important to you? Because you can tell you put some thought into it, which is I think great.
Absolutely, promos are very important to me because since I first started. Obviously, I guess I'm gassed to the gills and I'm ripped to shreds. I'm not the tallest. I'm not the most athletic. I am not the prettiest, although that's, not really. Come on, look at this shit. But I'm not the best at anything, I felt like I knew wrestling is it's dog eat dog. It's you're swimming with the shark. So I didn't want to just show up and just wrestle. I always wanted to stand out. I wanted to be a part of the show. I wanted to be I wanted to be invited into pro wrestling. But I felt like I needed something to offer. So what I did originally when I became the captain, I noticed a lot of wrestlers at the time were either a lot of the vets were too prideful to do promos because you're being a mark, blah, blah, blah. A lot of guys would be just doing the car promos and stuff, not really fascinating. For me, I wanted to, because some of my favorites growing up always had like these vignettes and video packages and stuff that like really stand out. So I wanted to complement my character. So if people were doing car promos, the Captain Aranova would do a promo from the cockpit. I'll be in the cockpit of my spaceship, a sort of play on pro wrestling. So, and then each show and each challenge, the more outlandish it got. So I wanted to stand out as much as possible. And I wanted not only to just be a wrestler on the show, I wanted to be an attraction. I wanted whoever's the promoter or booker, like you can rely on me to promote because I want to promote myself as well as the show,
No, it's great. Coming from a booker standpoint, no one's ever gonna not like you hyping the show. So it just helps you out too in the long haul and whatnot. What else? Any advice you would give someone just starting out?
Starting out, focus on your athleticism, man. When I first started, we had to do hundreds of push-ups and squats and sit-ups and just these really rigorous workout routines and stuff like that. And it was really, really tough. It really challenged my will. Like there was a number of times in training, like I sit on the back, like after puking up my guts, like, I don't know if I can do this. I don't want to do this. Like, this is too hard. Like maybe I'm not built for this. So, I encourage trainers to really beat that into their students' head. Like athleticism and conditioning is absolutely very important in wrestling. I wish I stuck to the regiments I was presented when I first started training because, once you slow that down, your movement slowed down in the ring. And I feel like it's been a detriment to me. Like I'm not as good as I feel like I should be because of my athleticism is what's really holding me back. So any young guys, stick to your training. Because your body is the vehicle and it's going to get you from A to B. So It's the only way to get up to the card is if you're in tip-top condition. Tip-top condition. I was gonna start the, but tip-top condition. Also, man, trust your personality, man. Don't be afraid to try new things. It's wrestling. It's always gonna be around. Except for right now, so that really doesn't.
Most of the time.
Back then, wrestling was always around, you know. Yeah. So try new things, trust your personality, try to, you know, expand your personality, take risks with your personality and your character, man. Like, wrestling never really made sense, so it's subjective. Don't try to make some sense of something that doesn't make sense. So, like, as I said earlier, like there was a ladder match for child custody. Why they didn't just do that in court? Undertaker and Kane. Undertaker used to shoot lightning bolts. Like, come on, like it's wrestling.
Murdered AJ Styles a couple weeks ago. So
yeah, like it's the Boneyard match is the most innovative thing. Soon, don't worry, we're gonna have a match on my spaceship. I'm gonna, you know, I gotta clean up the place, but it'll happen. But yeah,
match. I like it.
Always present yourself, man. Being professional is one thing, but on the show, you know, try to be a part of the show. What all brought us to the dance was the characters. So really have fun with that. Really present it. Because the people, they're here to see a wrestling show. There is wrestling, but the show part, you know, give the kids something, man. Give them something to sink their teeth into.
So where do you see yourself in 5 years, my brother?
A billionaire, first billionaire in pro wrestling.
Wow, all right.
No. No, it's not about the money. For me, it's 5 years, man. I would love to reach a main stage where I can get invited and cross over into pop media as a wrestler. That's always the dream of mine. So I'm working hard to get to a national platform or a global platform where we can open the door. Hopefully I can try to open the door for pro wrestlers into crossing over into mainstream media. There's so much media out there with YouTube and Facebook and stuff like that. But I feel like, you know, wrestlers are the best entertainers in the world. So it can really do some good, man. A special appearance is something I always loved. I always loved the Chef Boyardee commercials featuring Mankind or the Big Show or stuff like that. You know, I wish wrestling can get back to that level where, you know, they were pop culture. It was everybody knew a Goldberg in the Little Caesars commercial or Bret Hart on Mad TV, Stone Cold on Mad TV, and Dilbert and stuff like that. So I would like to be invited as the pro wrestler Aaron Nova.
You're gonna have a hard time getting on Mad TV. It's over.
Yeah, I know. I love Mad TV was my go-to over SNL. But still, The Rock in 2000, I thought that was like, oh, we made it. We got The Rock done made it. You know, 2000 was a great year because of like the commercials and the shows and stuff like that. But I would like to be invited as the pro wrestler.
Anything else you'd like to say, Mr. Nova, while you have the platform?
Oh, man, Sage Scott is not a cruiserweight. Did I say that already?
You just want to nail it in one more time, man. Just in case no one didn't know.
If there's like a lag or anything like that. Sage Scott is not a cruiserweight. We're all in this together. The doors are slowly opening back up for the world. It is very tough times. All we got is each other, really. So anybody in pro wrestling, keep an open mind, man. Look at the bright side. There's always a bright side. You don't have to be so quick to be negative. If you love what you do, then prove it, express it, share it with everybody. If we all love wrestling, let's just let's talk wrestling, man. We have a good conversation about wrestling. There could be somebody listening like, hey, what are these guys talking about? Boom, you got a new fan. More fans equals what? More ticket sales, more views, more shares, and then that's how we grow, man.
Usually at this point too, I would say any upcoming appearances, but you know, we're in a weird time right now. So any plugs? I see you wearing a nice little T-shirt there. Wink, wink.
Captain Aaron Nova's crew tee. If you want to join the crew, fullygimmick.com. under the future gimmick tab, look for the Aaron Nova shirt and get yourself one. These fit great. I believe you have one, and you're not.
I do have one. I looked for it real quick because we literally set this up within the day. So I looked for it, and I was maybe it's in the wash. I wear it so often.
Yeah, true. I understand it. It's a great shirt.
But I do legit have one.
It's both sides.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm so jacked. It's just the gas.
Yeah, don't rip it like the Hulk.
It's like my 30th shirt I ripped today. So, so yeah, everybody get yourself a T-shirt, man. Check out Jordan and his many ventures. Oh my God, his movie reviews. He's such a fun person.
Shucks.
Listen to every episode before, man. Shout outs to everybody that's been on the show. Dax, Jason Dugan. Who I'm gonna
we've had some great guests. I feel like we just had another one.
Oh yeah, man. I'm always down. This was so short notice, so we just we called it in the ring. Thankfully, we know how to work around here.
Vets do, brothers. What vets do, man.
Yeah. We call it shoot from the hip, man. But damn, how long was this? How many minutes we got?
We're at least. I started the timer late. I got 42 on the timer, and I started late, so we're at a good 45, if not more.
45, man. Usually these podcasts I do is like 2 hours. I just get so lost in the sauce.
Well, I just try to keep it. I don't even know people watch an hour anymore. You know how YouTube is. People are looking for 3 minutes. So yeah, I feel like
but my voice and your voice is very soothing. We're like
it is. You can fall asleep to this, guys. If you just
music. We're like, hey,
drifting away.
Kiss FM radio. But yeah, man, I got an appearance on the Gelgamax system. See me defend the Universal title over there in that quadrant. So I don't think.
And unlike WWE, it's legitimately the Universal title.
Yeah, it's an actual title of their universe. So I'll be over there, in a couple of time skips and stuff like that. So catch me there if the signal is strong enough. Check your local telescope or space station.
All righty, and once this thing's over with, you'll know that it was the captain that killed the coronavirus once and for all.
Now that the arm is healed, the world can open back up. Don't worry.
Yeah. Eric can wrestle again? Let's put on shows.
Yeah. So I'll be there, man. Check everybody out. Check Real Pro. Check Tampa. Check Pride of Wrestling. Check everything you can think of. YouTube Wrestling if you're bored. Hear all these interviews, man. Hear all of our stories. We're all different, and that's what makes the world turn around is that we're all different.
Absolutely. Everyone's got a tale, man. We're all here in this crazy world of wrestling for different reasons, but the same reasons that we friggin' love it for whatever reason that is.
As soon as you find out, you let me know.
I wish I knew. Other than I just loved it ever since I can remember, man.
Oh, absolutely, man.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. Well, for JPO, the captain, Aaron Nova, thank you guys so much for tuning in. Like, subscribe. The usual jibber jabber. And as always, hey, keep it kayfabe.